Chapter 1 Bosk of Finrad. Today's the day. I'll make it into the Adventurers Guild today, Bosk said to himself as he laced up his warm boots. I'll make the sisters proud of me. Bosk had grown up in a small orphanage on the edge of Finrad, a medium-sized human kingdom. Bosk, being a tall, green half-orc, stuck out wherever he went. His long hair didn't help much either. Bosk, hurry up, you don't want to be late again. That would make it 3 years in a row, a voice yelled from the hall. Bosk stood up from his small bed. He had outgrown it 4 years ago, but he didn't mind. It felt familiar, and that was more than enough for him. Bosk looked around his room one last time. It was small, no more than 7 feet square. He smiled as he thought of all the memories in that room. He'd accidentally put countless holes in the wall while he practiced his strikes. This year, he knew for sure he would make it. I just put my boots on, Bosk yelled as he opened the door. Well, there's no reason to yell. Your voice carries, you know. Bosk was shocked by the small sister standing before him. Sister Nova might have been the shorter sister at the orphanage, but she was the only one who was able to corral Bosk. Now, I need to check your gabesson. No need for it to go flying when you decide to do a backflip like last year. Bosk looked down at the little sister and smiled to himself. Do you think I'll be able to get into the guild this year? Sister Nova looked up at Bosk and saw his big, goofy smile. They'd be fools not to let you in, she replied. You're the strongest person in the entire kingdom. How could they not let you in? Now get going, Sister Nova said as she smiled back at Bosk and stepped out of the doorway. She knew that his spirits needed to be high for today to go well. Bosk, with a look of sudden realization, took off down the short hallway and waved back to Sister Nova. I'll buy everyone a big new home when I get in. And with that, Bosk was through the front door and on his way to the keep for the exam. Please make it. I'm going to turn you away if you come back, Sister Nova whispered as the door slammed behind Bosk. She wanted to tell him, but she didn't have the strength to tarnish his smile. As Bosk made his way through the lower level of Finrad, he couldn't help but start skipping with glee. He knew there was no way for him to fail the exam this year. He had put too much effort into preparing for him to fail this year. Good luck today, Bosk, a small, elderly man yelled to Bosk as he opened his store. Thank you, Mr. Drock. I'll be sure to tell the other adventurers where to get the best gabesons, Bosk called back. His skipping had turned more into a light jog as the excitement was starting to make his blood warm. Bosk, when you get him, be sure to stop by the tavern tonight. We need to celebrate, a brawny woman called out to him as he ran past her. Scar, you know I don't drink, Bosk responded. I know that, but that doesn't mean we can't drink in our adventurer's honor, she replied. Bosk smiled as he continued through the winding streets, receiving more and more cheers as he neared the upper district of Finrad. Finrad was situated atop a cliff over the Trymere Sea. The castle where the adventurer's exam would be taking place sat overlooking the sea. Finrad was split into 2 districts, the upper district and the lower district. The nobles and the adventurers lived in the upper district, but never divert from the main road when passing through the lower district. The lower district was Bosk's home, though. That was the one thing about becoming an adventurer that saddened him, but he would be sure to visit the lower district often. Bosk ran through the upper district, giving the citizens little attention as he raced towards the castle. About halfway through the district, he heard the castle bells start ringing. The exam, it was going to begin any second, Bosk. Bosk was in a dead sprint now. He knew he couldn't be late this year. An adventurer was never late. It would only be used against him. Bosk felt like his urgent desire to make everyone proud of him was pushing him to run faster than he ever moved before. As he rounded the final corner to the castle, he saw the gate was still open. He had made it on time. Don't close the doors! I made it on time this year! This is the year! Bosk exclaimed as he dashed through the doors. A guard who was leaning against the doors rolled his eyes as Bosk bolted through them. You still have 5 minutes before the doors close. Bosk found himself in a small courtyard and was surrounded by young adults dressed to take the exam. Bosk looked around at all the other candidates in their beautiful metal breastplates. Their chainmail glistened in the sun as if it had been freshly polished that morning. Bosk looked down at his dull red gabesson. He was proud of it. but he couldn't help feeling that it was inferior to the other armor. His gabesson was finely woven and thick, but it didn't shine like the other armor did. Bosk was aware of the difference between him and the other candidates. People from the lower district didn't apply to be adventurers. They had to focus on feeding their families, and being an adventurer was far too dangerous. Bosk was representing the entire lower district today. He wanted to show the upper district that the lower district was full of strong and intelligent people. Bosk rushed over to the sign-up tables and proceeded to fill out his information. "Haven't I seen you here before?" asked the woman at the table. "You might have. This is my third time taking the exam. I'm sure I'll pass this year," Bosk replied. "Third time? Honey, you do know that being an adventurer isn't for the lower districts, right?" she replied. "Well, I guess I'm going to have to prove you wrong," Bosk said with a coy smile as he finished filling out the paperwork. Once registration was closed, groups were formed and then posted with numbers corresponding to different sections to the courtyard. The exam focused on a plethora of physical tasks and combat. Candidates were judged on how well they worked together with their fellow candidates and how well they fared. Bosk, familiar with the exam, knew being quick to make friends with his assigned group was essential. Each group was made up of 5 candidates. The other candidates in Bosk's group were all taking the exam for the first time, and their names appeared on the board as such. Group 4, Adam Silverflow, 17, son of Theodore Silverflow, Royal Guard of Finrad, first attempt. Clara Finrad, 17, magic-imbued daughter of Queen Amelia Finrad, first attempt. Bosk, 15, orphan, half-orc, third attempt. Alfred Sofield, 17, son of Maxwell Sofield, advisor to the Queen, first attempt. Heinrich von Schwan, 17, son of Richard von Schwan, Grandmaster Knight of Finrad, first attempt. This year's group seemed different to Bosk. It was as if this group had been chosen to give him the best chance of succeeding. He felt as though the influence that his fellow candidates' names carried would guarantee him a spot in the guild if he performed well today. Bosk made his way over to the gathering area for Group 4. They had 30 minutes to become acquainted and assign roles among their groups. As Bosk arrived at the spot, the other 4 members were already gathered and talking to each other. "Adam, are you sure we're going to pass with our 5th member?" Heinrich asked. Heinrich was the second smallest member of the group, had a bow slung over his shoulder and a small dagger on his belt. By the look of him, you wouldn't have guessed he was the son of a Grandmaster Knight. His hair was thick and golden blonde, his face was slender as his slight frame, and his chin came down to a point. "Well, as long as he knows how to handle his rage, we should be fine. The last thing we need is one of our party members taking us out," Adam Silverflow responded. As Bosk approached, he noticed that the group seemed to be centered around the charming boy in the center. He had strong shoulders, stood about 6 feet tall with short brown hair. You could tell that he was from a wealthy family, as his armor was properly shined and polished. Bosk marveled at Adam's dark chocolate-colored skin seemed to glisten in the sun. "Hello there, my name is Bosk, and I'm so excited to get to take the exam with all of you today," Bosk exclaimed as he neared the group. "May I ask your name so I know who I'm protecting today?" Bosk didn't want to waste any time getting to know his group today. He was on time for once, and he wanted to make sure to make use of the extra time. "Boy, you're quite the chatter, aren't you?" the strong lady of the group answered. "My name is Clara. I'm glad to see that I'll be able to focus on my magic today. I assume you often draw the attention of your foes." Clara stood about 1 inch shorter than Bosk at 6 foot 3 inches. She had broad shoulders and muscles to match. Bosk marveled at her short blonde hair and her face that was both cute and intimidating. "I've never met a mage like you. You must have some real power behind your fireballs." Bosk was growing excited, and his mind muscle was powered. To have such a strong teammate would only help him. "Well, my magic could be better. I have to make sure these 3 knuckleheads stay out of trouble, hun." "Why don't I just introduce everyone?" Clara replied while gesturing to the group. "Knock yourself out," said Adam. The final member of the group nodded at Clara. Bosk thought it was odd that he responded this way. Bosk could feel a sense of fear coming from him. "All right, well, first of all," Clara made a large gesture towards Adam, "our fearful leader, Adam Silverflow. There is no battle he isn't willing to run away from." Adam glared at Clara as she snickered to herself. "Someone has to take the high ground," Adam snapped back. "Yes, usually that is the one with the bow, though," Clara said as she leaned and motioned towards Heinrich. This is Heinrich von Schwann. Some say he once slew the side of a barn. We have yet to see proof of it, though. He is, however, quite adept at lifting special reports from our parents' officers. Boss let out a bellow of laughter, then motioned to the finest and smallest member of the group. So that must make you our cleric, then. How many miracles a day are you up to? The final member just looked at Boss with wide eyes and started moving their hands in different formations. His name is Alfred Sofield, and yes, he's our cleric. He is selectively mute and can only whisper prayers. We all worked out a sign language we use to communicate with each other, Clara said in a calm, slightly somber tone. I'm sure that you'll be able to pick up on it quickly. Just know that Alfred will have your back if you have his. Alfred wore plainer armor than the others. His hair was matted and belongs to the group. His mouth seemed to rest in a shallow frown. Confused Boss, but Alfred didn't have better equipment or better kept hair, given his father worked in the castle. Boss wanted to see what Alfred's smile was like amidst the thousand of freckles on his face, so he said enthusiastically, "Oh, I will always protect my party members. I am the strongest in the city after all. What type of person would I be if I didn't use that to protect others?" Boss smiled at Alfred. "I'll be sure to learn quickly to make sure we both succeed." Alfred smiled back and put his open right hand over his chest. "That means thank you," Adam interpreted. "You seem to be very jubilant for a half-orc. My father has told me about the ferocity of half-orcs in battle. They seem to have the strength of 5 men. Do you reserve your rage for battles?" "Rage?" "Sorry, I don't follow. I was raised at an orphanage in the lower district since I was a baby. The nuns taught me to always smile and tried to share it," Boss said with a look of confusion on his face. "I see. Well, this should be interesting then. Good to have you on our team. Bosk. Do you have a surname?" Adam asked with an outstretched hand. "No, I don't," Bosk replied as he gripped his left arm and started to look away from Adam. "All is good. You're a child of the city then, Bosk of Finrad." "Has a good ring to it, doesn't it?" Adam exclaimed as the others agreed with him. "Bosk of Finrad, welcome to the outcasts."